Are you curious about what's been known as the default mode network, especially as it relates to using plant medicine or other psychedelics or doing breath work? Well, if you are, this video is for you. And by the way, I was asked to do this recording, and I'm very happy to do it because I think it's important. This is Eddie with the Mindful Emergence, where Margaret and I offer simple steps to get unstuck and experience spiritual transformation. And we offer mindfulness, movement, and breathing practices for that. You can go to our website and check that out. So, the default mode network, what is it? Well, it's basically an interconnected group of brain regions located in the prefrontal cortex and some other parts of the brain that I can barely pronounce. But it's really responsible for internally directed thought or self-reflection. There's a lot of talk about ego. We have this ego. Well, ego is just a concept. There's no such thing as an ego. It's basically a construct of this sense of self that we have and habit patterns of thinking. When people talk about that, they're actually talking about, whether they know it or not, the default mode network, which does exist. It's in the brain, and you can observe the activity of the DMN, as it's known, with an MRI. You can see how it's operating. So the default mode network is really essential to our normal everyday consciousness. And it's most active in a resting state, not when we're focused on an internal and external function that we have to do. And when we're in this resting state and we have this sense of self, this self-referential state of consciousness, it basically operates how we look at the world and how we see ourselves. And it's really designed for safety, so that we can operate and get things done and be able to move through life in a way that's helpful. And when we're struggling, when it's hyperactive, it shows up as depression, anxiety, OCD. Imagine when we're in that state, like we're in a rut. Margaret and I used to live, when we were up outside Weaverville, down a dirt road. And every year they would come in with this heavy machine and plane, or I forget the term, but you would basically straighten out the road because there were ruts that had formed over the winter as it got wet, and we were driving in and out along with our neighbors. So we get in this rut of how we look at ourselves. And Margaret and I have worked for years as certified alcohol and drug counselors with people who are really in a rut. Even in new early recovery, there's still these deeply rooted belief systems and thoughts about themselves that really create a problem. And when you compound that with the trauma that they've experienced in the past, it's really hard for them to create a new way of living. You know, when they're going around with stories about they're not good enough, et cetera, et cetera. I'm such a loser. I keep relapsing. I can't get this. I'm never going to amount to anything. Of course, a lot of these stories they heard from their parents or whatever. And this stuff is really rooted in. So it's really, really important that we reframe how we look at ourselves and how we look at the world. And one of the things that happens when people use plant medicines like ayahuasca or San Pedro, which is a cactus with mescaline in, or most often people use psilocybin, which is more easily available, even though it's still illegal. And I want to point out, we don't advocate the use of illegal substances, and we don't go around telling people that they should do this, but it's being done therapeutically, intentionally, with very positive results. Because what happens when these medicines are used? What happens is it loosens the grip of the default mode network. Or you can think of it as like the ego stepping aside. and it opens up a different perspective on things. You can think of it like defragging the computer and rebooting it. And it can really shift our thought patterns and how we see things. And interestingly enough, not surprisingly, if you understand the history of this process, is that breath work can do the same thing. And I'm not talking about pranayama or Wim Hof methods, which are very, very good. I'm talking about what people have often referenced as holotropic breath work. And we call it integrative breathwork because the traditional holotropic breathwork, you go in an all-day workshop and the breathing is like 2.5 to 3 hours long with a sitter, and then you switch and the other person does 2.5 to 3 hours of this breathing process while you're sitting for them. Integrative breathwork is 1 hour long. It's a particular type of breathing that's deeper, faster, more continuous, typically with eye shades and headphones, although you can use earbuds or even speakers, but headphones I think are ideal in my personal experience. And there's a playlist of specifically programmed music to help drive the experience. And this is something that we offer. You can go to our website, look under the breathing practices section, and there's a link where you can go in and find out about our monthly online breathwork sessions, which we have priced very affordably because we want people to experience this. So when we're doing the breathwork, this particular type of breathing with the music, it has the same effect as using something like psilocybin. Obviously, it's not as deep as taking a lot of plant medicine, and the arc is much shorter, but it's very effective. In our own personal experience doing breath work and holding space for other people doing breath work, we have seen remarkable results, a whole new outlook on things. This defragging, this rebooting, opening up new neural pathways. And here's the key. Whether you're doing breath work or whether you're choosing to use plant medicines or other psychedelics, integration is the key. Integration is everything. Otherwise, you've just had an experience. So in the work that we do, we support people in using plant medicines by doing preparation and doing the integration. We don't offer medicine to anybody, okay? That's very clear. And also we offer the breath work, the integrative breath work. But the key is the follow-up, and we offer particular practices and things that can be done for integration so you can take whatever insights opened up in these experiences and apply them to your day-to-day life. Build on those new neural pathways that have been opened up through this defragging, rebooting process, and be able to make effective, tangible, noticeable changes in your life as you move forward. I'm not saying it's a magic bullet. It's not a cure-all, but it is a very effective practice. All of these that can be used if they're done properly with the integration. So I hope that's helpful. I'm not a brain scientist. I'm not an expert on this, but I've learned a few things, and I hope by sharing what I have that it's been useful to you. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Please offer your comments. Go ahead and subscribe, hit that notification bell because I usually upload a couple of videos a week. So thanks for watching.